13 away from home, and it's just their second loss on the season against a team under 500 on the road. Tough one for the Clippers. Without Norman Powell today, they struggled in this afternoon, missing their leading scorer at 24 points a contest. Well, for Carlo Jimenez, Paul Gett, our engineer, Paul Law, our statistician, thanks for hanging out with us. The Clippers will be home on Tuesday to see the Lakers, the new look Lakers, at Intuit Dome. We'll see you in a few. Adam Allison will take the keys over when we return. Final score here at Scotiabank Arena, 115 for the Raptors, 108 for the Clippers. Clippers drop one on the road, finish the road trip 2-2 on your Clippers Audio Network.
This has been LA Clippers basketball. This is a team
Appreciate you guys. Now joining the new live stream here, the post-game live stream. I think Dunn would have been huge on this road trip for the most part. Like they've missed Chris Dunn a lot, guys. Raptors outplayed them. They were super hot from three. Kawhi had an off game. I'm not doing this whole thing where every time Kawhi has a bad game, he's washed or whatever. What's the other number, man? Some guy, Toby, in here saying Kawhi's done, Kawhi's washed. It's like, stop it, dude. Have you been watching how good he has looked overall since he came back? Let's stop the nonsense. They shot poorly. Toronto shot amazingly from the outside. It happens. It happens. They don't get the ball to Ivica Zubac. That was really frustrating for me. Out of everything, like Kawhi having an off game, you can't really control. Some of these Raptors three-pointers going, you can't really control. What you can control, his first step is not gone. He didn't even have structural damage. He has blown past guys since he came back. Go look at actual highlights from the 10 games he's played so far this season. I'm not a fanboy. Everybody knows Kawhi has looked good and has gotten past guys. He got past guys in this game too. Okay, Toby. I'm sure we'll see you when Kawhi does have a blow by. I'm sure you'll be in here. Clippers lose in Toronto. Final score 115-108 as the Clippers drop to 28-21 on the season. Welcome into your post-game show. I'm Adam Oslin. Let's get back out to Toronto with your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, we brought it up. That third quarter, the Clippers being outscored 31-16. In fact, they had just 6 points at the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. They really struggled there offensively, and it led to some poor defense in transition, where it was 17 fast break points for the Toronto Raptors during that 12-minute period alone. Tough to win a ball game when that's happening.
Yes, Adam. Tough one indeed for the Clippers. I mean, their inability to get back on the defensive end. And you can understand from the perspective of this is a long road trip. You're playing your 4th different game, 3 different time zones. You haven't had 2 days off since the fires in Los Angeles that forced a game to be postponed against Charlotte. And for the Clippers, just not enough from their superstars and not enough focus on the defensive end. And in this game, the Raptors were able to speed things up, 28 fast break points, 17 of them in that third quarter that you mentioned, as the Clippers would score 10 points in a span of 7 minutes in the final 7 minutes of that third quarter. Just a brutal quarter for the Clippers, who started to come close. Nico Batum, bright spot, no doubt, for the Clippers today with his 11 points. I thought the bench, considering they played 3 guys today, had one of their best games of the season when you think about the contributions from KPJ, Nico, and Terrence Mann. They finished with 35 bench points. But credit the Raptors, 41 bench points from them today. They were able to get guys who don't usually make shots, making shots. I mean, Ochai Agbaji in his 20 minutes knocks down 2 threes on the season. Agbaji he's a good 3-point shooter, but then you look at somebody like Jacoby Walter, under 30%. He hits 2 threes today. Grady Dick is at 34%. Scotty Barnes is at 27%. He hit 2 threes today. It's a tough one for the Clips, because a lot of guys for Toronto who, if you run the scouting report again, probably don't hit those threes. I mean, the Clippers probably played the scouting report, but Toronto was able to get the threes they needed and shoot 52% from the 3-point line to come away with a win.
Yeah, and the Clippers taking 10 of their 28 attempts in that third quarter, where they were just hemorrhaging points and they were having a difficult time scoring themselves. Just seemed like their lack of offense hurt their defense, which also got Toronto going, as they had a ton of those just runouts for dunks. That 8-0 run they went on was very consequential. I think probably the biggest point of the ball game. It happened right after Kawhi Leonard went out in the third quarter, and Kawhi had an off night, 6 of 18 from the field, 14 points, had 4 turnovers, was looking for a whistle, never really got it back in Toronto, and the Clippers lose a tough one on the back end of a tough 4-game road trip, where I do think there were some tired legs out there and some guys they're missing. No Norman Powell. I think the loss of Chris Dunn over the last couple of games, his presence or the lack thereof, has been felt by this Clippers team, Carlo.
I agree. I mean, they have not had the defensive guy in Chris who could turn you over. I mean, this is somebody, Adam, per 36 is top 5 in the NBA in steals per game. Among guys who play 20 or more minutes, is top 5 in the NBA in defensive rating. I mean, he has played at an elite level on the defensive end. And like we've talked about, the Clippers rely on turnovers to create for the offensive end, and they did not get enough mistakes from Toronto today. I mean, they get 17 points off turnovers, but they average 20 a night. So you're 3 under there. It felt like for this Clipper team, they're down a body, and they felt it today, especially with no Norman Powell. This group was gassed. You had a lot of guys play 30 or more minutes. Zubac played 40 today with a trade. Obviously, no backup big. We'll see Eubanks hopefully on Tuesday, so that should change things a little bit for this Clipper team. I thought in the minutes that Zoo was off the floor, they really struggled against the length of Toronto. And credit Toronto, Adam. I mean, this is a good team. This is a team that has won 8 games at home against teams that are at 500 or more. This is a place where they're able to win a lot of games against good teams. For whatever reason, they play an elite level of basketball at Scotiabank Arena, and they did that once again today. I mean, you look at the box score and you see 52% from 3 and 52% from the field. It's going to be very tough to win a game when your opponent shoot 50+%. And the Clippers couldn't get over the hump today. They stayed step for step in the first half, but then in the second half, Toronto never lost a beat. They score 50+ in that second half. The Clippers can't get above 40 or 45, I should say, in half number 2. So a tough one for the Clips. Definitely one, maybe a victim of the road trip and a victim of playing a hot Toronto team right now. And you get a cold night from the Clippers without Norman Powell. That mixture just doesn't lead to success here on the road.
Yeah, Toronto has now won 8 of their last 10 games. They take down the Clippers 115-108 in Toronto. Clippers return back to Los Angeles Tuesday night. They're taking on the Lakers, round 2 of the Los Angeles Battle of LA going on. Tip-off at Into a Dome is at 7 p.m. We'll have your pregame show starting at 6. Carlo Jimenez, great call as always. We'll see you back at the Dome. The Dome is home Tuesday night.
Adam, I'll see you in person this time, and I am excited about that. Let's go!
Coming up next, we'll get to your final box scores. The Clippers lose 115-108 to the Raptors in Toronto. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Y'all can freak out over one loss if you want to. I don't hit the panic button. The Clippers have just won 4 of 5. I see some prisoners of the moment here. It is amazing how many people here freak out after every loss. Timothy is in complete meltdown mode. Clipskeg TV, Toby. Guys, it's going to be okay. But, I mean, it happens on the other side, too. Clippers get a big victory. People say they're going to win the championship. So I get it. F said Clippers matinee games don't count. It is known. All right, Toby, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but you're new in here, and it seems coincidental, or maybe not so much, after a Clippers loss like this where Kawhi struggles, that now you're in this chat. You talking about the Raptors beating Boston? They don't have a bottom 5 offense when Kawhi is on the floor. That's all that matters. Say they have a bottom 5 offense when they've had 11 games with Kawhi so far, and coming into this game with Kawhi on the floor, they have an offensive rating of 122, which would be best in the league. So looking at the overall numbers for the year when they've only had Kawhi for 11 games doesn't make a lot of sense. As I've said for months now, if a healthy Kawhi, they have a chance against anyone in the West. I don't know about the East. Clippers lose 115-108 in Toronto to the Raptors. I'm Adam Osland. This is your post-game show, Clippers Locker Room. Clippers end up shooting just 47% from the field when in the first half of this one, they were at 52%. But that third quarter being outscored 31-16, they almost got doubled up in the third where they couldn't get their offense into gear. I thought they were taking too many three-pointers. That's the game. The Clippers outscored the Raptors in the fourth 31-23. They outscored them in the second by 4. They lost the first quarter by 4. The third quarter is what stands out most. And the Clippers, I thought, were settling for threes instead of doing the hard stuff, putting your head down, getting to the basket, creating advantages on the offensive side. Maybe it's the sign of a team that is tired, is fatigued. They only had 10 turnovers, if you want to take away a positive there. But 10 of their 28 three-pointers attempted came in that third quarter when they were leading to long rebounds for the Toronto Raptors and runouts. I believe at one point they had 3 straight dunks in transition. That's where the separation came, and it happened right after Kawhi Leonard exited the ball game in the third quarter. He came back to start the fourth, but he had an off night. Kawhi's 6 of 18, just 14 points. Easily his worst game since he came back. He's played 11. He's looked very good for the most part. Tonight, wasn't there. James Harden, 7 of 20, 25 points. He's been struggling. 7 assists, just 2 turnovers at least, but 7 of 20, 2 of 9 from the outside. At one point, he missed, I think, 3 straight three-pointers in that third quarter. Ivica Zubac was good. 18 and 8. Did they give him the basketball enough? I didn't think so. He played 40 minutes. I like seeing that. Clippers don't have their backup in Drew Eubanks yet, but they didn't feature him enough in a game without Norman Powell. There's some frustration. I thought Terrence Mann had one of his better games, especially in the first half, where he scored all 7 of his points. KPJ, thought he had a really good first half. He ended up with 17 on 8 of 13 shooting, plus 7 boards, 5 assists, 2 turnovers. KPJ, 8 of 13 from the field. He had a really nice ball game. And then Nico Batum, 4 of 5, 3 of 4 from distance, 11 points, timely 3-pointers to keep them hanging around. All of them came in the second half, but not enough. RJ Barrett finished with 20. Grady Dick had 18. Clippers lose 115-108 in Toronto to the Raptors. Coming up, more from your final box score. And while we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
This is LA Clippers basketball. AM 570 KLAC Los Angeles, 98.7 KYSR HD2 Los Angeles, an iHeart radio station.
Clippers lose by 7 to the Raptors. They're now 28-21 on the season, and they've had Kawhi for just 11 games. Everybody in the chat melting down right now would have signed up for that before the season started, without a doubt. 49 games in. 28-21 with only having Kawhi for 11 games. Are you kidding me? This team has definitely been overachieving, and I still think the best is yet to come. More Clippers postgame next here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. The Clippers are 28-21 with only having 11 games from Kawhi Leonard this season. Put things in perspective, y'all. There's another game coming up on Tuesday. The season is not over because they lost to the Raptors, who have won 8 of 10 now. Not a lot of pop from this Clippers team tonight. Without Norman Powell, they lose 115-108 in Toronto to the Raptors. James Harden, 7 of 20. Kawhi, 6 of 18. Both those guys combined to go 13 of 38 from the field, and the Raptors go 13 of 25 from 3. Yeah, you're probably going to lose that ball game. The Raptors shot 52% from 3. Some of them were wide open. Some of them were from guys who shoot under 30% from the outside, and it didn't matter in this game. They were hot. They started hot, 3 of 3 to start the game from 3. Then they started the fourth quarter, 4 of 4 from 3. They beat the Clippers 115 to 108. More post game. Coming up next, I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. I've answered this question many times, and everybody on here seems to change their mind depending on what happened the very last game because of recency bias. Timothy, I've answered the question many times. Go back and watch former episodes. I shouldn't even dignify it with a response. I've answered this question so many times. I literally answered it like 15 minutes ago now. How many times are you going to ask the same damn thing? I would argue this was more about their offensive game plan and process, poor process, failing them, Vincent, than their defensive effort. I'm not saying their defensive effort was great, but their offense put their defense in a lot of bad positions. They were missing we don't have enough scoring. They're missing Norman Powell, their leading scorer. He's averaging 24 per game efficiently. Y'all don't really have to freak out after every game. You don't. 28 and 21 with 11 games with Kawhi Leonard. That's because you don't listen, Timothy, because you just keep saying the same thing over and over and spamming and trying to start skies falling panic after a loss in Toronto.
Champion Los Angeles Dodgers. So we're world champions. World champions once again, my friend. But what's next?
I'm sure Zoo was tired. He played 40 minutes. Might have helped if they got on the basketball more.
How good does that sound? Don't miss a moment of off-season Dodger talk right here on their official.
I get it. Lakers got Luka. People freaking out. People on edge. I understand.
AM 570 LA Sports.
Gonna be okay, Clipper Nation. I know they lost in Toronto, 115 to 108 to the Raptors. The Lakers got Luka yesterday, and a bunch of people are on edge in the chat at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side, doing some sky is fall panic fear-mongering stuff. If the Clippers blow out the Lakers on Tuesday night, who knows who's available for that Lakers game? Y'all will be singing a different tune. This is how it goes. Ebbs and flows. The Clippers are 7 games above 500. They've only had Kawhi for 11. You look at their offensive rating and defensive rating when Kawhi is on the floor, it is elite. So I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to do what y'all think I'm going to do and just flip out. This Raptors team had just won 5 straight. They have now won 8 of their last 10. They have beaten very good teams at home this season. If you actually know the details about this Raptors team a little bit more, you're not as surprised by this loss. You know the Clippers only beat them by 2 back at Intuit Dome earlier this year. The Raptors gave them all they could handle. They match up well against them. They are good defensively against the Clippers. Their ball pressure is tough. So the Clippers lose by 7. All is not lost. They got a day off tomorrow. They're back at it at Intuit Dome for a bit of a homestand, starting with the Lakers Tuesday night. Tip-off is at 7. Pre-game show starting at 6. Outside of Los Angeles, we are leaving you until then. But up next, here on AM 570 LA Sports, we got Clippers Talk. God, I love Bonesaw.
With that, just like that.
Y'all are acting like, I understand their overall record is bad this season, the Raptors, but they have beaten really good teams at home. I think like they have 8 home wins against teams above 500. I think they've beaten Boston there. Like, I knew this would be a tough game. We talked about it heading into this one. I'm not shocked.
But when disaster strikes, it takes all of us.
And the Clippers had poor performances from their 2 main guys.
Are helping first responders with donations and support.
And the Raptors shot 50% from three. What? And the Clippers still. I'm trying to reason with the unreasonable. Some of y'all just don't want to hear it. You just want to say, we're not a contender.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first.
I don't know what your expectations were coming into this season, but the Clippers being 7 games over 500, almost 50 games in, without only having Kawhi for 11, is pretty special. Most of y'all have been talking about how much you love this Clippers team this season, how much you enjoy watching this Clippers team. They have a loss in Toronto, and y'all are freaking out.
Dunks, dimes, and no looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching
They rip off a winning streak, you'll probably go the other way and say, we can beat anyone with Kawhi.
The LA Clippers. Intuit Dome open just in time for Clippers season and boosts features you have to see to believe.
I just don't understand.
And the wall, which includes 51 uninterrupted rows of the biggest Clippers fans.
Go look at who the Raptors have beat, especially in Toronto. Y'all don't have to freak out like this. It's not the end of everything.
So get your tickets to see all the action at LA's sickest new arena. It all starts with buying verified tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the LA Clippers.
I'm not trying to group everyone in there. You're right, Goofy. My bad. I was saying for the people who are panicking.
From seeing your favorite Clippers up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. So get tickets at Ticketmaster because there's.
I'm not saying Clippers don't have tough games coming up. Of course they do.
We're taking your calls on the LA Clippers right now.
This is Clippers Talk.
On air and on demand. The Clippers show of record.
Your chance to react.
Life finds a way. Raptors find a way. They beat the Clippers by 7 in Toronto, 115-108, as they found a way to go 13 of 25 from the outside. That is 52% shooting from three. In a game where Kawhi was off the mark, 6 of 18, James Harden, 7 of 20. And the Clippers take their 21st loss of the season. They're now 28-21 on the year. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland. Whether you're in the chat and panicking at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side or listening on AM 570 LA Sports, we appreciate you guys. No one's saying you can't be critical of the team. You can be critical of this performance. I was as it was happening. In the third quarter, I didn't like the process by the Clippers at all. Let me tell you the stretch and what happened. And I think this is what decided the ball game. Kawhi Leonard ends up leaving the game at the 5:28 mark. The Clippers are down 4 at 73-69. You get a James Harden step back jumper. Don't hate the shot. But now we're going to enter the three-point contest that the Clippers put on. James Harden 3. Didn't get it. Another 3. Didn't get it. Terrence Mann tries to go to the basket, gets blocked multiple times. Went there. One of them I felt like was a turnover. Another James Harden 3. There's 3 threes in a row. Amir Coffey 3. 4 threes in a row. 5th time's the charm. Nico Batum knocked one down. But the Clippers were settling. Amir Coffey, another missed 3 in that third quarter. James Harden, another missed 3. Like, they went 2 for 10 from 3 when points were at a premium in the third. They took 10 of their 28 three-pointers in the third quarter, and they only made 2 of them. And the guy who made 2 was Nico. That's it. That was the only guy. Everybody else was over. And meanwhile, those misses were turning into long rebounds. And while I said it was a three-point contest for the Clippers in the third, for the Raptors in the third, it was a dunk contest. Dunk after dunk after dunk. Grady Dick RJ Barrett. They were just getting out in transition, long runouts, beating the Clippers down the floor. They looked like the quicker, faster team. They were getting the rebounds. They were making the Clippers pay. That's much of the game right there. That's where they got their separation to enter the fourth quarter up 92-77. Clippers are down 15. Again, it was a 4-point game with about 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter when Kawhi went to the bench. And things just completely unraveled for the Clippers. I'm not saying the transition defense was good. I am saying their offense wasn't exactly helping their defense in that third quarter. The fact they kept settling for threes that they weren't hitting outside of Nico, it made life way too easy on Toronto. That's where this game was lost. And this. Nate G just said it in the chat. The sad part is, quote, I don't think Zoo will ever get the touches he needs this season. You don't have a backup big at this point. You don't have Norman Powell in this ball game. Kawhi's missing. James Harden's missing. I don't know. Maybe go to a guy that shoots 65% from the field. Ivica Zubac did play 40 minutes. They don't have Drew Eubanks yet. He was a plus 10 in his 40 minutes. So wait. In the other 8 minutes, they lost it by what? 17? They lost the non-Zoo minutes by what? 17? He went plus 10 and played his 39 something, about 40 minutes, and they lost the game by 7, but he was a plus 10 out there. How do you not get him the basketball more? How many post-game shows do I have to come on and say, nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips, just a bunch of gibberish. They forgot about Zoo. They forgot about Zoo. Every damn time. He had basically smalls on him the entire game. Who's their biggest guy? Kelly Olynyk. He only played 17 minutes. Chris Boucher is spelt slight of frame. Zoo only takes 11 shots in the game without Norman Powell when Kawhi Leonard and James Harden were missing. How does that happen? How does it continually happen? I don't think the Clippers got a great whistle. I also don't think that's why they lost the game. Kawhi was frustrated from the first quarter on because of the lack of calls. But he was probably more frustrated with the misses. 1 of 5 from the outside. Last 2 games, he combined to go 6 of 11 from 3 and just 1 of 5 from 3 in this game. 6 of 18 overall. 4 turnovers. He almost had as many turnovers as made shots. It's going to happen. Great players have bad games. This is really the only game where I'd say Kawhi was bad in 11 so far. Somebody help me. Ivica Zubac was plus 10 in his 40 minutes. So in the 8 minutes he was off the floor, they lost those minutes by 17 points or by 18 points. I need to see when he went off the court in that third quarter, because it wasn't just Kawhi. So he goes off. Kawhi exits at the 5:28 mark. Ivica Zubac in the third quarter exits for Nico Batum at the 5:02 mark. Now, I get it. He played 40 minutes. He can't play all 48. But that's when they got killed. Zubac's off the court. They got destroyed. That's a big part of this. I didn't notice that earlier. Let's see. Yeah, Law Murray has the same number. The Raptors outscored the Clippers by 17 points in the 7 minutes and 57 seconds that Ivica Zubac was off the floor today in Toronto. Law and I, same page. Two smartest guys in the room. Great minds think alike. Mio said Zoo needs to demand the ball. That's not his job. The coaches got to tell the other guys, hey, we got a mismatch. Let's exploit it. Let's get Zoo going. You guys are missing jumpers. You're missing threes. You're taking 10 of them and only hitting 2 in the third quarter. It's just so apparent how important Zoo is all the time. And in a game like this, use him. You don't have Norm. It is shocking seeing that number. They lost the 8 minutes without Zoo by 17 points. Zoo didn't lose. Y'all lost. I'm kidding. But that was very telling. That number right there. And I don't always go off of one game sample sizes with a plus minus, but it matches the eye test, right? Sometimes it does. That run happened, that 8-0 run with all those dunks and missed threes by the Clippers leading to dunks for the Raptors happened with Zoo off the floor. Zoo not getting the basketball and not getting up more than 11 shots is just criminal. How can that happen? He's been criminally underrated forever and overlooked. And he's too important to this team not to get him more involved in a game without Norman Powell. Someone's saying the Clippers are 500 when Norm is not playing. Well, how many games is that? 4? 5? It's not a big enough sample size. But yes, they, of course, need Norm. He's their leading scorer. Turns out he's pretty important while doing it efficiently. I just can't get over how many games I have to do this where I'm talking about Ivica Zubac not getting the basketball enough post game. Carlo actually brought it up before I did this time during the game. Normally it's me. I got to be the bad cop and get on my soapbox always talking about Ivica Zubac not getting the basketball enough. Carlo, another great basketball mind. It's just, in a game like this especially, you're going to make him do all the dirty work and not reward him on the other end? I can't take it. I'm going to take a timeout. Clippers lose. Zubac didn't lose. Clippers lose 115-108 in Toronto. It's a team game. Everybody lost. They forget about Zoo. What was that mix? What was that, Daniel? Leave it up.
I think that was a little Law Murray there by accident from earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, Law put up the tweet as well. The Clippers got outscored by 17 points in the 8 minutes that Ivica Zubac was off the floor, and they lose 115-108 in Toronto to the Raptors. I'm Adam Moslin. You're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Ice cubes. What dirty work, Vincent? Zoo averages 13 boards per game. He's the best rim defender. You can make the argument in the game. Here you go. A Zoo hater, a complete casual, talking about how he's got bad hands. The same old talking points from those who just can't understand how good Ivica Zubac is. It's amazing to me. Why does this keep happening? Why are there still a faction of fans after all Zoo has done, all the 2020 games against good competition, and they still don't understand his impact on the game? Go look at their defensive rating on-off splits when Zubac is on the floor and when he's off. You can't help some people. Like, they just refuse. Zoo haters just, they only see it through the lens of, see, did he do it today? Well, he didn't do it today. Well, first of all, the Raptors were shooting a bunch from the perimeter and can stretch you out with 5 guys, so he's not as close to the rim to get rebounds. Context, Vincent. I know it's tough. Second of all, they didn't give him the basketball. How's he gonna get his 20 points if you don't give him the basketball? Like, it takes 2. Zoo is dependent on getting the ball. Bulls saw Vincent only played middle school basketball. I agree. I thought Kawhi got too caught up in it with the officials.
The LA Clippers Audio Network.
Best fans and best arena in the entire sport.
Take us.
Clippers losing Toronto 115-108 as Ivica Zubac gets frozen out. Now, he doesn't get frozen out, but he didn't get the basketball nearly enough in a game without Norman Powell. 11 shots. He had 18 and 8. He was a plus 10 in a game they lost by 7, and he played 40 minutes, meaning they got outscored by 17 points when Ivica Zubac was off the floor for those 8 minutes. Kawhi Leonard off game, his first in his 11 games back, 6 of 18. James Harden, he's been a little bit of a funk in some ways, 7 of 20. You're telling me Ivica Zubac can't get a few more shots up when James Harden's 7 of 20? When they don't have Norman Powell? I'm sorry to beat the horse again. I don't even know if that axiom is allowed to be said in this day and age. But I just got to say, when are they going to stop forgetting about Ivica Zubac? It's funny. They got it to him in the fourth quarter. They made an emphasis to get Zoo going to start the fourth. Finally, they outscored Toronto 31-23 in that fourth quarter. In fact, what were Ivica Zubac's numbers when they actually went to him in the fourth? So he had 8 and 6 entering the fourth. Zoo had 10 and 2 in the fourth quarter. He had 10 points, 10 of his 18 in the fourth when they went to him, and they won the fourth quarter. They didn't win the game, probably because they didn't go to him enough. I do think Harden has not been great defensively, worse than, usual. He's not known for that as of late. The 3-point shootout the Clippers had in the third quarter, I don't mind good looks from the outside and playing the numbers. Eventually, those are going to fall. My problem is Ivica Zubac is out there. There are other ways to score. And clearly, they were leading to long rebounds and runouts for the Toronto Raptors. They were playing right into their hands. They're the younger, quicker, faster team. We're looking for post-game audio from Coach Lou and the players after this one. But this means that even if the Clippers beat the Lakers Tuesday, the Lakers will have a better record entering the trade deadline. That's coming from Law Murray. He also said 7 Raptors in double figures. Yeah, as they shot 52% from 3. The 28 fast break points. Guys, the Raptors had 17 fast break points in the third quarter. And a lot of that is all off missed threes or Terrence Mann at least trying to get to the basket and losing the basketball, even though I thought he had a really good first half. Wasn't a great second half. Thought KPJ had a really good first half. Thought he came back in probably too late. This was one of the few times I'd say I thought KPJ was going to come back in earlier in the third quarter. They needed some offense. Kevin Porter Jr. had a really good first half. That second quarter, I want to say he had 6 points, 10 points in the first half from KPJ on 5 of 8 shooting. He did have a couple of turnovers, but he had 5 boards in his first 10 minutes out there. KPJ, he only ended up playing like the last 2 minutes and 45 seconds in that third quarter. I thought he could have came in earlier when the Clippers were lacking scoring punch. 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. If you guys do want to get on, apparently Wayne is here in the chat. He's asking, are you taking any calls? We are. We'll take them. Appreciate you, chat. We tried something new, by the way. During the game, we had a live chat going. Obviously, I wasn't streaming the game in here on radio or television. Can't do that. But we had a live chat going here on the YouTube side. And that was a good time. You got to see some instant reaction to some plays that were happening. You got to get your guys' thoughts. Maybe we'll do that for road games. Home games, it might be more difficult. It's pretty loud at Intuit Dome. I don't know what to say. See, some people just say Harden doesn't play defense. That's casual stuff. His post defense is very good. Maybe go check out the game against Giannis recently. I can bring specific examples. And to say he just plays no defense isn't true. He's led the league in steals. He's got quick hands. It can be selective. It's not his strength. I understand that. All right. We got our guy. Is it Raji in New York?
It's Riga, but it's close enough.
Riga the Tiger. I love that
going
name.
on?
I love your name. What's up? It's good to hear from you again. One of my favorite callers.
Man, I'm here. I don't do the group the chat because the negativity is not really my style, and
Smart man.
overblowing losses, yeah, I don't do the overblowing losses. I like to keep my sanity.
Now you're having mine return. I actually have someone with some perspective here. Riga,
Yeah.
let me know. What did you think of the ball game?
I think it started with it wasn't the greatest defensive effort by the Clippers, but once you're a superstar and Kawhi's not knocking down shots, it's hitting the rim hard. Raptors are running. They were running. And they were told from the start of the game, don't forget, they got a really solid coach who says, listen, man, if we end up in foul trouble, we're going to have to live with that. But full court pressure, all 4 quarters, Adam, all 4 quarters. And, that kind of Clippers ain't really good at, getting out of that. We rely a lot on Harden. And then when we try to move the ball, the Raptors were really physical today. And like you said, Zoo wasn't getting rewarded at all, but he was doing everything he could to get the rebound. He had a great night, but when your stars, when they're not hitting their shots, it can get ugly. And that's what happened. But there's going to be games like that. It's the NBA. You're still playing against a group of professionals. Why would you overblow it? Why would you be so upset? Don't overthink it. We move on.
Right. I get the passion, and some people treat every game like it's the Super Bowl, which is not till next week. Some people put everything into one game, and that creates, more interest and more passion from the fan base. And that's fine. I just think afterwards, you do have to get back to having a little bit more of a big picture view and that perspective of where the Clippers are at. And that's why I keep saying their record has them 7 games over 500. They're 28-21, and they've only had Kawhi for 11 games. That to me should be jarring in a good way. That should wake you up and go, okay, not all is lost, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. And on top of that, Kawhi may have not made his shots, but that's going to happen with any player in history. They're going to have games like that, but he still looked good.
Yeah.
He's healthy, which is all we really asked for. On top of that, let's not deny, we got rid of PJ Tucker. That's $11.5 million off the books. What about that? What about the trade deadline hasn't been here yet? You think the Clippers are done making moves? Instead of focusing on what other teams are doing, let's just remind ourselves that we are in a great position. We still got a top 6 seed. And we got a lot more basketball to play. And we got a 4-game homestand. What's really there to worry about?
Riga, my new favorite caller from New York, the New York Clippers fan representing. Riga, thanks for doing this. Appreciate you calling in.
You know it.
I don't normally thank callers like that. Riga the Tiger from New York. I love it. We'll take a quick time out. We can talk about the Clippers and that move. I did a 2-hour show on it yesterday at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side with bringing in Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills, who I don't expect to play much. He could be bought out. And even Drew Eubanks could be bought out if the Clippers on the buyout market bring in someone that's better. Because, guys, they're in a really good position in the buyout market. They have an inside track to getting some of the better players who are likely going to be bought out around the trade deadline. We'll talk about that next. I'm Adam Moslin. Clippers lose in Toronto, 115-108 to the Raptors. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network and AM 570 LA Sports.
Disaster strikes.
Riga the Tiger.
Come together and make it home again.
Your Southern California Ford dealers are helping first responders.
Thanks, Riga.
donations
Call
and
in on
support to
Tuesday.
the LA Fire Department and California Community
Be good.
Wildfire Recovery.
If your vehicles were damaged by the recent Los Angeles area fires, the Southern California Ford dealers are offering you employee pricing.
I do
To turn heartache into hope.
have to say,
LA Strong.
they do have issues with the press.
Nothing compares.
That
to
is
catching
facts.
Clippers basketball IRL.
Ben Simmons could very likely become available. I would not be shocked if the Clippers somehow in a week had Ben Simmons. I would not be shocked.
Into a dome and Inglewood. Into a dome redefines the way fans
That's
watch
not hyperbole
basketball, including
at all.
incredible features like the interactive Halo board.
I think that's
and
possible.
51 rows of uninterrupted seats in the wall. Be sure to take it all in and experience the
But
NBA
who's he taking minutes away from then?
IRL like never before. It all
Right?
starts with buying verified tickets to the next Clippers.
It's not that
home game
easy.
at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the LA Clippers and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you into the game so you can catch every highlight in person. And that goes double for all the sneaker squeaks, celebrity sightings, and drip checks. So get Clippers
Riga.
tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're
Riga.
in the dome or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Clippers Talk, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino.
Hold on, Mike.
Combination. I'll take a sunrise game of golf any day and slots all night long.
Mine is room service and
I don't know if the Mavs have more of their MLE. Are they over the first apron?
slots, craps, and roulettes.
Can anybody tell me if the Mavs are over the first apron? Because you can't bring in a guy on a buyout if you're over the first apron who makes more than mid-level exception.
You're listening to LA Clippers basketball. Take us.
Clippers lose in Toronto, 115-108. Some people are freaking out. Some people are taking a more measured approach and looking at the bird's eye view. Clippers 28-21 on the year. They've only had Kawhi for 11 games. They are 8-3 with Kawhi Leonard. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Talk. Now, Kawhi had an off game, but I'm still encouraged by him getting to those looks and those shots he got up. Those are shots he normally knocks down. He seemed flustered because he wasn't getting a foul call. You could see it out there. Kawhi was talking to the officials. Maybe too much, honestly. At some point, you just got to play the game. You know you're not getting calls, but that's easier said than done too. So I understand it. And I understand why some people are upset about this loss to the Raptors. But if you put it in context, they have won 8 of 10 now. They just won 5 in a row. The Raptors almost beat them the first time around at Intuit Dome. They're playing better basketball than I think most people have picked up on. Now, the trade deadline is next Thursday, but the Clippers have already made a move. They trade a second-round pick, Mo Bamba and PJ Tucker, for Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills. I think the main objective of this move was a money play to get under the luxury tax, which they are by about $4 million now. But let me tell you something else that could be coming soon. The Clippers have $3.1 million left from the mid-level exception they used on DJ this summer. They didn't spend that money. What happens in the buyout is teams bring in guys that are bought out. They still got paid. Contracts are guaranteed by whatever team bought them out. And so then you typically get good players on a minimum that were bought out for a variety of reasons. A team wants to move on. They have a youth movement the second half of the season. Maybe there's a locker room issue. It's just a guy they're giving up on in their particular case. But that doesn't mean he's not a good player still. For instance, you could see somebody like Ben Simmons bought out from the Brooklyn Nets, who are, I think, not being as competitive as possible this season to try to get Cooper Flag. And they actually won too many games to start the year. They're going to end up trading Cam Johnson. That's happening. There are teams that are openly trying to get worse to eventually get much better. It's smart. It's strategic. I don't hate on it. Trust the process. The draft is more important than ever because of the new CBA. It is how, and Jerry West used to say, it's the lifeblood of your franchise. So somebody like Ben Simmons could get bought out because he makes like $40 million. If that happens, what the Clippers can offer is more money, and a lot of teams are restricted from offering Ben Simmons anything. Because if you are over the first apron, the Clippers are not, you cannot pick up a guy in the buyout market that made more than the mid-level exception, which is about $13 million. Well, Ben Simmons' contract is $40. So he would be one of those guys that makes more than that. He would be sought after. And the Clippers would have more money to offer him than just the veterans minimum, which is prorated around 1 million, I think 1.1 at this point, because we're later into the season. They could say, oh, we got $3 million we can throw your way, Ben, if you come here. And he's actually been playing pretty well as of late. I know some of you guys have soured on him, understandably. He's not lived up to the potential. He had some mental health issues, and he left Philadelphia. Didn't end great. But he's had a 10-6 game, 5-11 assist game recently, a 14-9 assist game, 10-7 assist game in limited minutes. He's had some good games. He's still a solid defender. He's not what he was before, also like the back injury, I think it was. But on a buyout, for not giving up anything, you just have to create the roster spot, which means the Clippers might end up buying out somebody like Patty Mills, who is on an expiring deal, the guy they just brought in. You probably remember him from San Antonio, maybe Brooklyn. They might buy him out on his $2 million expiring deal to open up a roster spot, or they do it to open up a roster spot to convert Jordan Miller's two-way to a standard contract. The Clippers have some options. And they have some advantages in the buyout market because some teams can't go after the players they'll be going after. Like the Lakers can't go after some of the players they're going after because they're over the first apron. So they can't compete with the Clippers for some of those guys in the buyout market. And the Clippers could offer more because they still have $3 million left, about 3.1 from the mid-level exception they gave to Derrick Jones Jr. this summer. That's not nothing. You never know what shakes out after some of these trades are made and which guys get bought out by teams. Talked about it with Robert Flom yesterday, but somebody like Steven Adams maybe becomes available. Somebody like Lonzo Ball maybe becomes available. That's how the Clippers can really improve. The other way, well, I wouldn't want to see it, but it's the business. It's a part of this. Terrence Mann is still an asset that's very tradable, even on that 3-year contract extension that starts after this year. And they're in Toronto today, and it made me think of the time that it sounded like there was an offer with Toronto trying to get Terrence Mann for Fred VanVleet a couple of years ago. Didn't happen. Clippers held on to T-Man. But teams, and we heard from La Murray about this earlier. In fact, Daniel, could we pull up this sound? We had La Murray on the pregame show, and I asked him about Terrence Mann and if he could be available out there. And you know what? Why don't we take a quick timeout? We'll come back. I'll tease it out, and you'll hear from La Murray, who was on with me pregame, regarding Terrence Mann and if he could get moved. I thought the answer was interesting. I'm at a Moslin after the Clippers lose in Toronto 115-108. You're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports.
Did you post it, or would it just be that?
I didn't post it.
Okay, so I have the 9-minute MP2, so I can just go through and find where he said it.
Your Southern California Ford helping first
Glad to have both of his
donations
answers.
and support to the LA Fire Department in California.
Also, if you want, we have try Lou.
Oh, let's definitely hear from that. How long's Lou?
Lou is he's a minute 50.
Nice. Guys, we'll hear from Coach Lou coming up, and La Murray on Terrence Mann. I forget if I asked him that first when I was like, hey, clip this. Second?
What's next for the LA Dodgers? The dynasty will take shape. What will this offseason bring that allows the boys in blue to run it back?
Lonzo's not horrible in the half court. That's just beyond an extreme statement. You got it? Nice.
For the next decade. AM 570 LA Sports.
Malcolm Brogdon is another guy. Hope the Lakers don't get him. I'm hearing rumors there. But they just got Lucas, so.
Why is this always a whole big thing? Wait. I have Kaiser Permanente. So my coverage.
That's not true. They can still get something for Mann without attaching their first-round pick.
All right.
This is an invitation to travel to a place of breathtaking beauty. From crystal clear waters to volcanic trails.
Man of the year is struggling.
The true power of Hawaii lies in the people of Hawaii.
Sorry.
What's up?
I'm watching NASCAR. They're racing at like a college football track.
Oh.
A couple of brothers are about to race each other. All right,
here we go, guys.
This is the LA Clippers on
Law on Terrence Mann and Coach Lou.
The best arena in the entire sport.
Clippers fall in Toronto 115-108. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. You know what? Quickly, before we hear from La Murray on Terrence Mann and Coach Lou post game, let's hear from Mike in LA. Mike, what's up?
Two things. So first, you mentioned right before going to break that, we're going to see if Terrence can get traded. I think that
it's a possibility.
24 hours,
it's a possibility.
Well, if we've learned anything in the last 24 hours, it's that anybody can get traded. I mean, so
that's fair.
I think we would all need to prepare for that possibility. And second is what is the deal with Chris Dunn? Do we know when he's expected back?
No. When's the last time
Mm.
you heard like this guy's expected back at this time in the NBA?
Yeah,
I'm just
fair.
wondering.
That's
He's got
I
a
just, I
left.
mean,
Okay,
yeah.
here's the important part, Mike. Originally, when we heard about this about a week ago, they said it's not serious. So it's left knee soreness. He could be back against the Lakers Tuesday night. Who knows? They said it was possible that he joined them on the road trip. Obviously, that didn't happen.
I just think he provides that extra punch defensively, which
Yeah.
you can clearly see.
Oh, he's been missed.
We need.
He's been missed.
It's definitely been missed.
All right, Mike.
Definitely been missed. All right, this is my points.
Appreciate you, my friend. All right, let's hear from Coach Lou post game. This was after the Clippers lost 115-108 in Toronto today. Here was your head coach.
Darko's doing a good job of just making sure his team plays hard, gets up pressure full court, and we didn't handle the pressure well. And then we turned the ball over, which allowed them to get out in transition. And then their pace offensively, I thought, was just too fast for us.
Big picture for you guys, what do you sort of take away from this one?
A few things. One, just, be able to play better offensively with our small unit, I think, is one. I think, two, just, being prepared. We talked about, their pace, how fast they're going to play, the splits, the cuts. And we didn't handle that very well. So we got to do better with that. And then just be able to handle pressure just in general when teams are picking us up full court.
One of our photographers noticed you singing to "O Canada" a little bit before the game. Was that a pointed choice today?
Was it what?
Was it an intentional choice by you to?
No, I like that song. Yeah, and I heard it a lot of times being in the playoffs here, so I know it by heart.
What you heard before or during the American anthem, did you have any reaction?
No reaction.
Thank you.
Yes, could just one question for my part. Well, today was today you lost, but anyway he had like Ivica Zubac had a great performance like all season long. What are you seeing from him this season, especially taking into account that he has taken a leap in terms of scoring and also rebounding?
Yeah, just his growth. I think being able to throw him the ball and trust him on the post to be able to score or make the right play. And he's been doing that for us all season, and he's matured and grown each year I've been here. Rebounding the basketball, protecting the paint, and he's been good for us.
Thank you, Coach.
French-Canadian reporter there, I'm guessing, asking that question about Ivica Zubac. Wish he got the ball a little bit more. There was Coach Lou post game after the Clippers fell 115-108 in Toronto to the Raptors. Remember, Clipper Stock is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, which is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or your least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money. I got a free promo code for you guys that gives new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description below. In this very episode, then you just go to underdogfantasy.com. You can see, okay, Milwaukee's at Memphis tonight. Giannis Antetokounmpo, higher or lower than 33.5 points? What about Dame Dalla? Higher or lower than 25.5 points? It is that easy to play. Underdog Fantasy, make picks, win money. So Coach Lou there talked about how they have to be better with pace and handling pressure, as many of you have talked about in the chat here. The Clippers not being good against heavy ball pressure. And this goes back to that game against the Golden State Warriors for me, where the Clippers, I think this is accurate, had 12 turnovers in the fourth quarter of that game at Intuit Dome, where they led big and still won, but there were some bad signs with them not handling a press very well at all. 12 turnovers in a quarter is, I think, what it was in the fourth after they were up big. And I noticed it then and talked about it a lot post-game, saying other teams are going to look at this and pressure the Clippers. I remember Matt Mattawarren of Talking Ship was like, what's the big deal? A win's a win. So it is a big deal. You put out bad tape in the fourth quarter and you showed a flaw, and other teams have picked up on that. And now you see it with the Raptors today, too. The Clippers have to be better. The book is out on them there. You pick them up in the backcourt, they have trouble getting into their offense. All right, let's hear from La Maria of The Athletic when I asked him about Terrence Mann. This was pregame earlier today. Inquiries before about Terrence Mann a couple of years ago. Do you think Terrence Mann is realistically available?
Available is a strong word. Are other teams actively interested in him? Yes. Like Dallas was interested in him. I think their interest might have been stronger if Derek Lively wound up staying healthy. Derek Lively being hurt, kind of, they needed to go this route. But I think we gotta see. I think we gotta really see how things shake out again. This Anthony Davis trade is I mean, that's one way to refer to it. You know what I mean? The Anthony Davis trade.
They got AD, Dallas. I forgot about that part of it.
Hey, now Dallas is 3 NBA champions. Like 3 starters, 3 stars, if you want to call it that, the new big 3. But yeah, that's the thing with Terrence, and I wrote about it earlier this week. Like, his value is not diminished outside the NBA. There's so many teams that look at Terrence Mann and they'd like to, put him in a greater role than the Clippers have this year. So while the Clippers are not playing him as much, while his contract number is lower now than it will be over the next couple of years, other teams certainly are interested in Terrence, and the Clippers are, they're not going to just, I wrote this, they're not just going to give him away. If Terrence Mann is here, it's because the Clippers look at Terrence Mann as a valuable piece of a team's playoff rotation, this team's playoff rotation. And if he's traded, he's going to be traded for, a player who can help at the very least. And so Terrence, I think, is interesting. And we're just going to have to see who's going, what direction the team winds up going in here. As of now, I don't look at the Clippers as the ones picking up the phone looking to shop Terrence.
There you go. There was La Murray there. Pre-game on T-Man as trade week is upon us. Clippers lose 115-108 in Toronto. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez on the call. Back here in the bank, producer Daniel West. I'm Adam Osland. We will talk to you next time here on Clippers Talk.
Single edition all season long.
Flips and Dip coming up later tonight, guys. I'll have a show for you back here tomorrow morning. I'll have Kevin Figures on, I believe, from AM 570 LA Sports, talking about the big trade and how it changes things for the Clippers and the Lakers in their upcoming matchup Tuesday night. Look forward to that. Trade deadline is on Thursday, Appreciate you guys in the chat. Be good to one another. Go Clips.